Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some absurd things with this Dimir Agatha Soul Cauldron deck with some of the other kind of cool creatures that we can exile under it. And the main thing that Cauldron does here, we'll get right into the bread and butter of the deck, is Agatha's Soul Cauldron, a 2-mana artifact, a really good hate piece against a lot of the Reanimator decks coming around, so you can kind of have mainboard hate piece against those decks, which is cool. But you may spend... Wow, that's weird. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. The other final mode on it is tap it, which this can happen the turn that you play Cauldron, so you can kind of use that to your advantage in a lot of spots. But exile a target card from a graveyard, doesn't have to even be your own. Whenever a creature is exiled this way, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So basically what that is saying is, let's use Rona as it's the most simple example here. Rona has an activated ability of tap it, draw a card, and then discard a card. If this card is in our graveyard, we can exile it under Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which will conveniently enough, it'll look like this kind of in the arena kind of client. It'll look like this. But now, a creature I have in play, let's just say Kiora, is in play. This is a 3/2 with a lot of stuff on it, but that's not what happens. Agatha's Soul Cauldron will exile Rona in the graveyard, put a counter on Kiora. That's Agatha's ability we just read. Kiora now with that counter can then tap and draw a card and discard a card. It can use Rona's abilities that are attached to this on itself as well. So what are we trying to actually do with that? We are trying to use this bulk rare unplayable card. In most circumstances outside of Commander, I would have to say. Sometimes it finds itself in the command zone even, because people like to draw cards and do a lot of nonsense with the card. But it is a 6 mana 3/4 that does nothing when it enters the battlefield. What? Have you guys read any of the Overlords lately? They're about the same mana cost, and they do a lot more than this, and they could be played for cheaper. So this card is pretty much like an unplayable, undraftable rare that I probably would never recommend anybody crafting. But we are trying to abuse this because this has an ability, tap, draw 3 cards on it. Now, Agatha's Soul Cauldron gives that ability to every single creature we have with a counter on it, as long as a Arcanis here is exiled underneath an Agatha's Soul Cauldron, like we said before. So we got to get one of these in the graveyard, exile with a Cauldron, and then every creature with a counter on it, we can then draw 3 cards. So on our opponent's end step, we can basically say, hey, by the way, on your end step, I'm going to tap my 3 creatures. I'm going to draw 9 cards. And you have to deal with that. And what that does for us in the best kind of color combination in standard right now, it just gives us a lot of cards to interact with our opponent, kill things, get stuff out of the way, and just slowly hit our opponent until they get up from the table and leave us with all of our cards in hand. So outside of that, I mean, we have cut downs, we have go for the throats, we have Siren that's kind of that one of. Honestly, didn't even realize this is a one of. It was in my hand an awful lot today, so that's kind of crazy. Rona as a 4 of, as it's going to be our early kind of activate creature that we want to be exiling or using as advantage. This has legendary, whenever we cast a legendary spell, untap it. So oftentimes we could tap this to draw 3 cards, cast a legendary card, untap it, draw an additional 3. So Rona works in a very cool way that way. Nowhere to run, take away the Warden Hexproof, Likeness Looter to kind of copy anything we need, oftentimes just a graveyard card that we pitch later. And then Whale of the Forgotten being a very cool card because we are interacting with our graveyard a ton. We want this card to kind of either look at the top 3, grab the best card, bounce a permanent that comes up pretty often today, or just straight up make our opponent discard, which can sometimes be relevant. Outside of that, we got a lot of other activated abilities. There's a lot of synergies in the deck to talk about. I don't want to waste too much time. Outside of that, kind of brief description for anybody who may not know what it does. I only do that really just in case somebody doesn't quite... In case somebody hasn't played Magic that often or is maybe new to the game. I think those descriptions help out a ton. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. I hope you all enjoy them, and let's see if we can get the combo working. And if you enjoy my kind of content, please consider subscribing. It truly helps out the channel a ton, and let's go game. Wow, I just got in the game and my opponent's already mulligan. That's crazy. Yes, we have Rona and a way to discard and a Kaito that we can probably get in, a Kiora to find some value, a Surveil. No real removal here, but we'll see if it's aggro or not. See if I get punished heavy for keeping this hand or not. Who really knows? But probably figure it out. Yeah, kind of figured as much. As soon as you hit plat, you just end up playing against kind of the same decks over and over again. But yep, we get the shores up. We can then virtue this down. We'll have to wait on the Rona. Hopefully they kind of overcommit now. I guess I wouldn't call this an overcommit, but like it's vulnerable in this spot, right? Maybe they only have one creature. Who really knows? We could play a Kiora, get this to discard for free, and then maybe play a Kaito, kind of tap down their thing permanently. Maybe this got some burn. Okay, so not a whole lot going on. Kiora comes in. Kiora is definitely killable here, but neither of those are even playable, so we'll definitely get rid of it. And then a second Kiora online. A lot of bad lands kind of here for our opponent. Not necessarily what you really want to see. Shock on our Kiora. That means we could play another one. They have one card in hand. Do I just like play this and play this? Or do I play Kaito and just tap that thing? Honestly, I think we just tap their hero here. And then we just say that thing's tapped for 2 turns until we either find removal or something. They can shock Kaito, of course, but they don't really do much. They don't activate their land on it either. So we go to combat. Your lands are only sorcery speed, so you'll have to figure that one out later. Now we can Wail the Forgotten, make them put that card back. We can go ahead and just activate this Surveil because we did damage. It's 0. We could plus if we wanted to. But I think just throwing stuff in that yard to get Kiora kind of online here makes a ton of sense. We take a draw in Rona. Guess I could have taken the land, but I want to make sure that I'm hitting this. And then one land Rona, I guess, can go. We play land, we play Rona. And then now on a discard or whatever next turn, barring a removal spell or something, we can Wail for all 3 modes. And just like that, red dies. But I think one of the downsides of playing red sometimes you have to be careful of, and maybe they didn't think about it in their mulligan. It's pretty easy to just see some lands in your hand and go keep. Well, when most of them are villages, you then can't cast 3 of the spells here with those lands. So it's a little bit interesting. We end up coming away with the win. Very cool. We go first. We have Wail, we have Rona. Again, Rona always being like a good card to have with this in the hand. Especially just getting this in the yard immediately. We kind of can get it all figured out right away. We don't have to necessarily like find one of these later and then exile it or something like that. Yeah, Rona comes down. 1 blue mana in the open. Could get bounced. Could just be like a draw. Be a couple of things. Obviously, we're going to look to activate here. Now we definitely have cut down available as well, so that seems pretty good. Could just wait to activate, but could find a Surveil land or something. Let's activate here. See if they want to go for the old play. They do not. We put Arcanis in the yard. We just play this land now. I could go for a Wail as well. Try to find that Cauldron maybe. Especially now that that card's in the graveyard. No Cauldron here. Blue. My only fear is it's like the Tolarian Terror type decks. So I'm going to grab this Go for a Throat and let a Rona just go in the yard. But we'll see what's up. They elect to draw. Good land. Yeah. Okay, spin this only to activate abilities. Okay. We do this. We put a Cauldron on the stack now because obviously, I guess we might as well loot here. But we put this on the stack now because we have 2 mana to pay for it. I think a land is kind of so-so here. They have negate available. Wow, I was not ready for a negate. I'll be honest with you. Not a card we typically will see all too often, I think. And then we just run a cut down into this. Then we just do nothing here. I think a loot might be better, especially getting this ticked up is gonna be probably pretty important. Activate. Seem like go for the third is gonna be all that important, especially in comparison to this Overlord here. Go ahead and play our land. Go ahead and spend 2 mana on this. We'll turn the whale on. That does some good for us. And I guess backup Rona might be worth it. Yes. Not entirely, or not even worth it. Maybe we just activate this Rona and discard it again. Yeah, especially with a couple whales available. How do I want to spend these? We just wait here. Let them kind of do what they want. Maybe they'll commit a bit more to the board. They're going to make a token, of course. Kill passage, more lands. Whale's discards would be nice, but our opponent hasn't really done anything whatsoever. Kind of weird. I don't even know what to pretend to do. I think they're just hard control. Now we have 2 targets here, so even if they sack this to draw a card, we don't necessarily care. Well, they just take it. They don't even sack it to draw. Guess I'll take that land. Land seems good. I think they're pretty prioritized on making sure something like an Agatha Soul Cauldron never sticks around. So let's run them out of a counterspell. Put a Sheoldred on the stack. Take a loot. Harvester probably okay. Maybe not the best card of all time. Not better than Kiora at the very least. You making another dude here? Treasure. Okay. Interesting. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'll just attack. The only thing I'm afraid of, if there's something to be afraid of, is like the blue. Alright, it's just mono blue, literally do nothing. Okay, cool. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. When this is the only creature I've seen, and this is the card that countered a spell, which is like arguably unplayable right now, I had no idea what I was up against or what was going on. So, of course, I was playing it a little weird, I think. I put it first. Our hand's like, okay. Not like the worst thing I've ever seen. Might be. Forsaken Miner. Okay, maybe we're in a little bit of trouble. They're going to be a really fast deck. Isn't necessarily what I need. I need lands. Okay. Maybe a crime deck more than anything. I'm gonna hit up him with a go for the throat, I guess. I don't know what they would have at instant speed here. Maybe just a removal of their spell, like a nowhere to run or something. Take another 2. Okay, there's skeletons, crime with Badmere. Okay. Here. Definitely not what I was expecting, but something that's like fair, I guess. Discard 2 cards. Overlord is uncastable. They could cast my Rona, I guess. But I think Overlord being uncastable is like a good discard here for a deadly cover-up. And hopefully this sticks. But I guess like, let's play this. So we have to Sheoldred kind of thing. Actually, no, that's probably coming. Down to 11. Can we survive? Find out next time. On your favorite show. Sure. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Could bounce it back to my hand, I guess. I guess like playing a Sheoldred also feels just like really good. Also, if they don't have removal for Sheoldred, then that means I can kind of not have to do anything. Like, I don't have to board wipe. I can just play Kiora, gain 4 more life, and go through the phase of the game like that. If they play a land, they can play my Overlord, I guess. But then we bounce that back to our hand. We'll see how they attack based on whatever. They didn't just instantly slam a go for the throat on my Sheoldred, so I feel like Sheoldred's fine. Oh, we'll see. Maybe a cut down in hand or something. Corpse of the Lost and we're in the tank. I don't know how on Earth we're ever in the tank there. What? Like, what are we even potentially thinking about? Oh no, I'm going to win too hard by playing my Corpse of the Lost. Who would have thought? Like, what? Just play your cards out. Alright, cut down's actually huge. Let's play this. Card 2. I think Kiora could probably go. We'll do Whale, because Whale obviously can't be cast here. We're not even guaranteed to hit this deadly cover up, so we do have to kind of play to that. We can always cut down the tiny bones because of Death Touch. This has Menace, so it's not really going to be easy to get around. I guess I just wait. This, by the way. Third creature can't block. Okay. It's a really cool card to play. Another case. Another case, another problem. Get rid of this. Sure. Uh-huh. Yep. Yes. 1, 2, 3, those do add up. Yeah. They're probably going to pick that back up so they can make another token. They still have a suspected creature, so that's not turned on at all. We play here. I play a Rona. And then I say I would like to pass the turn. I now have like an answer to things. If they ever answer this, I'll just like exile some things maybe. I don't know. Deadly cover up seeming a little weird here for sure. Definitely need to find a way to draw a lot of cards. And Agatha's Soul Cauldron, for example, onto the kind of the main game plan, I guess, if you would, of what we want to see. Corpse of the Lost, sure. That does work. Now this Rona would go back to my graveyard, I believe. Combat? Need to find a way to kill their own menace creature if they can. Let's cast this Nowhere to Run. This will be mana efficient. I'm not going to get rid of the Rona just in case. We'll get rid of a token so this corpse can't be picked back up. Do another Rona. Let's activate a draw here. The land thing. Get rid of said land. Gain our 2 life. Cast another Rona just to untap this one. While it's on the stack, we'll activate here, I think, if it'll allow us. If I didn't mess up too bad already. So we activate this now because we're just going to be tapped. Then we'll keep the one that's untapped. Well, doesn't matter all too much. Like I said, I'll keep the untapped one. Creature can't block. But my Rona can. That's them to 9 plus an additional extra damage. I guess Sheoldred has to attack here. I don't know if there's like a black card that says like exile target attacking creature, nor like why would you be playing it skeletons, you know? I suspect the creature can't block. They just take the damage. Okay. They're looking to maybe flip this. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. You draw and discard. Sure. That's a little more damage they're going to take, because I do have a Sheoldred in play. Down to 5. Another land. Agatha. Okay. Prime to be committed. Obviously, the 4 I'll take. Can't. Like, I'm not blocking. Has menace. Go to 8. A virtue. Okay. A virtue, you say? Now, here's the problem for my opponent. Is I'm now going to flip this. And I'm going to swing 5 with trample. And I'm going to swing my Sheoldred the Gathering card. And if they double block either one, they lose the game. Because this would hit for 5 and they would die. If they double block here. If they double block here, then like other problems happen. They can technically block 1 and then block 1 and hope to get there off maybe a second Corpse of the Lost. But this is also buffing everything. So for me, it's just like, pay this cost. Could virtue this out of the way, but then they get like a free block kind of. And with this being blocked, the bottom part happens. Source deals damage to it. Its source controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's line card, whatever. Otherwise, you may cast it. Yeah. So they don't even lose any value, I guess. There's a block like that. Yes, sir. I thought there was another clause on it if they couldn't discard, something else were to happen. So they go to 2. I'm at 8. Another Corpse of Lost off the top actually wins them the game. That's actually crazy. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to virtue there. I was like, oh no, that leaves, so they're fine. No, another Corpse of Lost would have pumped both of them. They would have hit me for 8 exactly. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, we go first. Quite a wild hand, to say the least. Never thought I'd look at 7 and be like, yeah, this is a snap keep. Alright, third Overlord, not necessarily needed. Already past Halloween, brother. What are we doing? Where's my Christmas leaves? Alright, we fire this off, obviously. Hopefully not to flip over any cauldrons, but maybe some. Oh, well, okay. I talk, it happens. You know? Typical me behavior. Alright, that's fine. We have plenty of removal. Kiora is probably not to take. It could be. They probably have removal for it, though. If I had to guess, we have Orzhov random Magic the Gathering cards I own. I'm not entirely sure what it will be. I could just get rid of this, but I think just going ahead and playing a Kiora here makes a ton of sense. Then I can play Overlord next turn and attack with it. They're kind of forced to answer the Kiora. I'm going to get rid of the looter. Kiora's not technically online, but it will be online next turn. And then I can, if they don't answer Kiora or get rid of this, I can then remove this, and then I get my go for the throw back. A lot of things get to happen, and a lot of things break down due to like how this turn pans out. Runelurker Bat, Deep Cavern Bat, so it is like the Bat life gain deck. So now we have options. That's a Cauldron. A Cauldron I don't want to necessarily activate right away. And then I can play this Overlord for 2. Yeah. Now we'll mill over. There's another Kiora. None of I would necessarily want it, so I'll take this back just because Kiora's requirements are met here. And now I can attack. Make an 8/8. Then they might. Interesting. No. No. Alright. Here's some advice, team. Don't put your counter on the creature that is already demanding to be removed. You put it on the other creature, because, for example, if I don't want this thing to do anything, and I kill it, it's more likely that I try to kill it if it's 2/2. I don't plan on killing it if it's not. But return up to creatures. Okay. So we do have a little bit of bad news for our opponent. We are in Agatha's Soul Cauldron deck. So, we do, by proxy, just naturally have, like, hate pieces for the deck. With that said, we're going to sit here. We're going to hold our little 8-8, and we're going to have a good time. They can just trade right in. I don't really want that. I want it to be a threat in terms of attacking, because it is such a massive creature, or force them to use a removal spell. That's double kicked. Okay. I'm going to lose 4-ish life here, maybe. Lose a lot of life. See what happens. We'll see if I die to the raise to pass combo. That's a land, so it's not necessarily where they're going with it. Camera bat, so they're putting as much in there as they can. Get rid of this. Don't want them to have an extra scry. I'll lose a life. That's fine with me. Get rid of this card. Counter on there. Seems like a reasonable take. Tough card to be looking at. But let's do this. See what we can't find. If we find a Rona, seems pretty good. Well, not winning any awards by waiting too long. Do this. Alright, so there's a deadly cover-up. Play Lunar. Let's play Rona. Take another damage here. If they have kind of like the raise to pass kind of combo shenanigans, they do, I guess. But this is return up to 2 target creatures from mana value 2 or less. If a gift is given, they return up to 3. So they can technically return this, this, and this, which would be a gain 3. I would take 6. Yeah, so that's what they have. So no Cauldron here. Unfortunately, I'm going to take a lot of damage here. They don't have another life gainer at the moment. I don't even know what they took. Oh yeah, my board wipe. That totally makes sense. Kind of a bad time to find that out. We will have a lot of looks to find a way to remove this. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have any life gain attack. Oh, I guess I'm just dead to this, huh? Interesting. You're gonna give me a migraine, brother. Why didn't we just win the game? We could have just played this first, and then it would have done 9 damage more, I guess. Whatever. Whatever indeed. Okay. I guess we just play land for turn. We activate Cauldron here. We look in here. Maybe over there. Maybe over here. Deadly cover-up's in the yard, so I do have to find removal for a deep cavern bat. But then I just died to everything else. I don't know. I'm going to draw regardless. I don't really care. Let's take a look. Counters on here. Counter on Rona. Draw 3 cards off Rona. Not really a whole lot to be impressed off of. Draw 3 more cards. About as dead of cards as I can imagine. Cast. Rona taps. Rona enters. We keep this one. Draw an additional 3. Okay. No removal inside apparently in my deck. Yeah, because I have to remove this, and then I'd have to remove that. There's just nothing I can do. Please grab this card. I cannot believe I don't meet that requirement. That seems absurd to me. Do this. And we fall short on that. Have you... Uh-huh. And there's just no way to get anything else off the board. They hit me for 1 life. I take 3. They play any creature. I take 3. Yeah, I don't think there's a way out. Oh, well, I guess. Very cool. Alright, well, we have a Rona and a way to discard this, so, I mean, it's kind of the goal of today's video to do this a couple of times, so I guess we keep, right? If my goal was to play the best decks of all time, I'd be playing what my opponent's playing. Didn't get. Maybe they'll have a lightning strike for this, who knows? Regardless, we definitely need to find lands more than anything. Okay, maybe they'll just get this out of the way. Maybe I could block. Well, you gained me 3 life. I'm happy, I guess. Take 2. Well, we have a Sheoldred to play next turn. Only like fear for Sheoldred here. I guess I take the Cauldron. Play this and you just like next turn play a Sheoldred and hope it's good enough. Sheoldred probably won't block. The only downside, that doesn't really do much right here. 2. Rona in there. Okay. Well, let's play a Sheoldred the Gathering, I guess. Then we sit here and we kind of stare at the board. We have to kind of take whatever they dish out with this. We have too many options where we gain a ton of life if we kind of do elsewhere. Other work. You can only cast 1 spell. So if it's Monstrous Rage, I take like 8. I think I can gain way more than that, right? Like that's the thing. I guess it would have killed it. Something I really should have thought about. There's the second Higher Claw. The Kiora. Kiora's a pretty solid card to find here. We could bounce this. Kind of make them figure it out from there. Play a Cauldron, grow this a bit. And then it'll have also this ability on it. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid plan here. Return card to hand. You return that to hand. Then I'll play this Cauldron. Go ahead and get it out of the way now, just so I'm not holding this priority for the end of time. Then we put a counter on our Sheoldred. Then our Sheoldred gets to kind of be a good blocker here. But also we can loot with Sheoldred, which will then put this in the graveyard. And then it'll gain us 2 life kind of thing. That's the only fear, is that play. No amount of double lightning strike here is going to get me. Sure. And again, I think we are obligated to block here. So we will just lose to burn if we don't. Again, we do have a sneaky amount of life to gain. So they go for a Monstrous Rage over there. Okay. Obviously doesn't outgrow this. Monstrous Rage number 2. So they think it's all settled up and done. This is where we gain a sneaky amount of life. Do that, we discard this. Sheoldred does that. Go down to 3. Sheoldred untaps. We take another draw. Our opponents may be a little confused. They're like, how could they do that? Then just like that, we're going to run red right out of the building entirely. We're going to grow this. We're going to discard these. Let's just discard this. All creatures can go in the graveyard now. Gain a lot more life here. We'll activate our kind of card here. We'll take this. Go ahead and throw it on here. It's not going to be active this turn. And then just because I can assert that dominance, I'm going to draw 3 cards. I'm going to gain 6 life. I'm gonna ask my opponent to figure out the game from here. Obviously, it's mono red. They can definitely figure it out. But next turn, I'm going to gain 12 life. And without a Screaming Nemesis, I'm going to do that forever. Who would have thought? Who would have thought right there, like, that's going to be the way we beat a mono red deck? So, all right, we are first. We only have blue mana here, which is a little scary. We're gonna give it a shot. We have a couple of looks. We have this into a Rona, so we can get kind of quite a bit of looks, especially like with the map sack. Storm Chaser, maybe it's Simic. Unsure on that, obviously. Just attack. Go ahead and hit him for one. Never really gonna block here. Yeah, so it is Simic. Maybe it could be Teamer, but I still think it's just Simic. Nope, nothing there, because they obviously could cast a spell in response, do some nonsense. Now, Rona is going to activate. You find our land. Okay, Kiora can then untap Rona here. Get rid of this Harvester, maybe? Play land. We play Kiora. Rona then untaps. Maybe they have opt here? About the only thing I could think of that would matter much. Rid of the other Rona. I think this removal might be necessary. Then I can activate Rona again and try to get this Kiora ticked up to the point we need it to be. Plus having additional blockers never going to be all that bad. Or Seed of Hope. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. I do get to grab a Beanstalk, which is definitely the hardest card for us to run up against. In a situation of like where we're trying to go card for card. Because obviously Beanstalk's a very good card. Free card draws all the way around. And they just concede. Okay. Your name is Salt, and you conceded. So, the salty one now. Oh, man. That's kind of crazy that they actually give up the game there. But, okay. Opponent first, and this definitely seems like one of the more bad hands that I've had, but I definitely want to try it out. Definitely want to stress test Kiora as kind of much as I can in some of these type of decks, because Kiora is typically kind of a key role piece, and it's kind of what enables you to do a lot of things, especially in a situation like this where maybe our hand's not perfect, or maybe this matchup, maybe our hand is good. Who really knows? We also need to find another land. This is an island setup. We'll just play one of these little guys here. Call it a day. A little pause immediately. We'll see what we're up against. White, blue, black. No real surprise. Seems like combo. Squirming Emergence combo. Sure. With that said, and a land hit on curve, we just play a Cauldron. Then they have a 1/4 that can just beat us to death, but that's for future us. We don't worry about that right now. Have to be careful about activating the Cauldron, but also they need green mana to Squirming Emergence. We should have an answer to Cauldron in their deck, like a Haywire Might or something. There's the green. We'll just exile things as they come, of course. Also, just getting permanents out of the yard makes Squirming Emergence just worse in general. Making about as bad as possible would be great. Get a land. Now we just slam this good old-fashioned Kiora. Maybe Kiora will give us something spicy to hit. Our Cauldron. Have a bounce effect. Maybe. There's a Rona. Rona not necessarily the best card to keep in the hand right now, because Rona we can like exile and then kind of put some extra counters on and then use it as kind of a draw, sack draw kind of thing, or draw, tap draw type thing. Just saying thing generically. Our opponents kind of pause this every bit of the way too, so I'm kind of trying to think of what they're playing. Maybe they're just confused on what we're playing. They're playing a Reanimator deck, and they ran into an Agatha Soul Cauldron, so they're probably not the happiest camper in the world. Yeah, they'll sack that Fable Passage. They'll go get their green mana that they need, and obviously at some point they might be able to blow up this Cauldron. We'll do our best to stop that from happening. Okay, why am I not going to be able to necessarily do it right away? Get the removal for the Siren though. Ew. Okay. That's fine with me. Affecting their life total, especially like with how Cauldron puts extra counters on stuff, it definitely gets a lot more taxing when that type of effect happens. This is Jace. I guess that is an alternate win condition. Like a plus on Kiora, but it's not necessarily going to stop me from doing anything. They mill themselves. Okay, well, sure. That's a fair thing to do. And wow, if I had to say it could be worse, I don't think you would believe me. I don't know what of relevance in their graveyard is there. There is. There's a Jace. That kind of matters. Squirming Emergence. That kind of matters. But like, Omniscience, Portal? Omniscience, I guess? They're just going to set up like a double kind of graveyard situation, I guess. Land? Can I turn this Kiora on this turn? I don't think so. This? Grab a Sheoldred. Seems like the best card of the bunch. Maybe I'll get to put a permanent in the yard. Ooh. Not quite. Okay. Next. We can attack. No, I don't want to mess around. I don't want to wait till they play a Squirming Emergence and then I have to kind of interact with it, right? I want to be able to activate the Agatha Soul Cauldron, exiling kind of whatever they target. That's kind of the frustrating part of the whole thing. Sure, that's fun. Situation here, like we obviously let them cast a Squirming Emergence. Big Lock Prankster, they're gonna mill a bit more. I don't know what that card says. Look at 7 cards in your library. You may reveal a non-land permanent from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest from the bottom of your library in random order. Put up to 2 non-saga. Okay. Sure. Now, one card that I am afraid of is a Lumra. Because Lumra can technically do it, I guess. They can just play it from their hand for 5 mana. My turn? 2 mana? Let's take a look. How about we? What's in our graveyard? Kind of like whatever cards. I could do it to put a counter on Kiora, I guess. I don't want to put more cards out of my graveyard. I guess that's also true. There's one Jace on the bottom. Guess I'll just take the Jace. No way. There's another Omniscience on top. Keeps changing. In Legacy, you can't actually change your graveyard. Legacy players will know that. There's Reanimate cards that care way too much. If I care way too much, it's like a reasonable amount of care. Well, let's surveil. Pretty much anything is going in this graveyard. Like I said, pretty much anything is going in this graveyard. We're going to combat. We're going to attack. We're going to make an 8/8. I don't care if they block it, obviously. It's like, why would they not block it? Hit. Sure. Sheoldred. Up. Figure it out from there. They pick lock. Dolls. Hey, there's Lumra. That could do it. That's the card they needed to pretty much hit from their hand. Take a draw. Cut down what's available. Have a Squirming Emergence. Only 1 copy, but that kind of precedes that there'd be 1 in their hand. Oh, no, this is a mill 4? Oh, no. Yeah, I will mill 4. Understanding that milling out of the game is kind of a problem for them right now. Sure. You'd like to cast a card from your hand for free. Yeah. Cut down, maybe hit the Kiora. Makes sense. Maybe their plan's just to mill me out of the game at this point. Which would make sense. Would make sense. Yeah, I would also concede, but I'm gonna exile Lumina, honestly, and just like kind of take that out. So this was the only card I think from, oh, it's even 6 mana. That's even worse. This is the only card that I think they could have hit like just draw naturally, that they would want to see, which I don't know why they necessarily milled themselves more, because like I understand you're trying to find Squirming Emergence, but like also you're kind of trying to set up. But this card, if they would cast it, we don't play any kind of counter spell. If we look in here, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's minimum, even if I overcount and undercount it, there's a minimum of 10 lands in there. Now you're just casting Omniscience when you draw it, right? Like you don't even have to reanimate anything there now. So like me with a Cauldron doesn't necessarily matter that much. You just get to like go, all right, I'll just cast an Atraxa or something. But that said, we take away the game. Very cool. Okay, so here we are with the deck, and wow, has it been a very interesting day of Magic the Gathering Arena for me today. So I don't know if it's kind of because it's still kind of early in the season or whatever, and I'm just like in early plat kind of lobbies. People might be still messing around a bit because obviously it's a long season, kind of play whatever you want to play. But holy, did I not play against a bunch of decks that just played randomly the worst mainboard hate for this card. There was so many cursed games in today's video. Not even in the video, like I just end up removing them. There was like I was physically getting upset. Like I was like, this deck, for one, if I was playing Boros Burn, would never exist. I would never see this matchup. And of course they're turn one playing a card that answers Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Like it's the only reason, like, card I can think of that it would be in there for. I had one opponent in one of the games, they were on the play, I'm holding like a Cauldron in hand, they're like, turn one land Haywire Might, and I said, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good against me. And then they just played a second one, and I said, yep, sure, I guess my entire game plan is dead. And the thing about it is, like, there's this weird balance where it's like you kind of want to show what the deck can do, and at the time I hadn't done it yet. Like I hadn't done this combo yet, so I wasn't even sure that I was going to keep the video at all. If I have a deck that I play that goes really, really bad, you just don't see that. Oftentimes it's how I don't rank up. I was plat 1 last season, played 3 really bad decks, ended up at plat 4, and I never just like cared to climb out at that point. I lost so many games. But the situation like this, I was playing against such weird decks that it kind of helped. There's a conspiracy on Arena, whether it's true or not, I have no idea. Like in the best of 1, your decks are kind of rated, you know, depending on what cards you submit. And I don't think I've seen 3 of the decks that I played ever in my life. I could not describe to you what they were doing. They were just a counter for me. It was absurd. Like they could not have beat a mono red deck ever. It was, so I was just like, after they showed me like the 3rd hate piece, I just picked them up and left. So there's not even a fun conclusion at the game. I was just like, I don't know if this deck's good or not. I'm not going to sit here and find out against somebody that hates my deck apparently. But is this deck good? I don't think so. I think like if you're talking about a tier list kind of style deck, like S is the top, you know, you have your A's, your B's or whatever. I would put this at a B probably. I think the deck is like fun and kind of like enjoyable to play, but I think this is just more of like blue-black archetype carrying the deck, and there is just significantly better blue-black decks out there to play. So it's kind of hard to be like, if I'm going to rate the traditional blue-black list like as an S tier comp or deck, I've been playing TFT as an S tier deck, well then this can't be S tier. And if like the blue-black Kaito version of that list or the blue-black like demons version of the list that won Worlds, like, all right, let's call that A. Are we going to call this A? No. So I think this fits kind of in that weird like B category of decks. And I also think the big downside of this deck is the fact that these are also rare. I think back in the day, this is a rare. For Commander players, this is a rare. For drafts, it's probably a rare. But like in typical play, a 6 mana 3/4 that requires 3 blue mana that does nothing but pick itself up the turn that you play it, which requires 4 more mana. That's a lot to spend on a bulk rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of rare wild cards to be investing in this card. Now, obviously, now Agatha's Soul Cauldron is 4 mythics. So, like, outside of this deck, some other decks, the Agatha's Soul Cauldron comes in. I don't think you're ever playing this card outside of this deck, at least for right now. So definitely take it out with the grain of salt. If you build this, kind of on you. Like I'm telling you right now, would I ever recommend building this to anybody if they're like, is that deck cool? Should I craft it? My answer is going to be no. And I will split it up and show you why. Let's it actually makes me sick, but these are the common and uncommons of the deck. These are all rares and mythics of the list. That is a lot of cards to craft for a deck that I don't necessarily think is like a peak deck of any kind. So also these are all technically rares, but lands I typically don't end up counting because I think lands should be one of the first things you kind of get into because they're what make your deck go. But with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed. I know I kind of rambled here at the end about some nonsense that probably doesn't matter, but I hope you all enjoyed regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.